Episode 472, What Building with AI Has Taught Me About the Future of Work.
The AI 6 Podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
Across this series, I've shared custom assistants, voice agents, an agentic podcast workflow, AI rulebook, the govcoms.ai, product voice studio, local AI, and of course, how I've built a flagship domain expert language model. The most important lesson is not that I have accumulated a long list of tools. It is that I can now scale myself, my ideas, my innovation, and my intellectual property in ways that were not previously possible. Hello, and you're very welcome back to the AI 6 special series, How I'm Building with AI. And this is the last episode in that 10-part series. So if you just caught this episode, you've got 9 others to catch up on. Now, let me tell you, building with AI hasn't been easy. You learn by doing. AI is definitely a practice. It's a set of skills. You've got to understand the technology. You've got to understand your own domain expertise. You've got to learn new concepts and frameworks. And with all of that, you have to ensure that governance is key. Because you can't just build, produce, deploy, and then hope for the best. You really should be designing with governance in mind. So it has been a wonderful learning curve. And if you know me and if you watch my work, I absolutely love learning. It makes me a better teacher. Of course, with AI, you have to be a practitioner, and that's the only way to learn. But I've built this into my core business, into the time that I set aside to learn. And I brought my team with me. And, you know, it takes a real commitment to say I'm going to build with AI and I'm going to study it, not just theoretically, which of course I've done at Harvard. I'm going to be doing it at Oxford in the autumn, reading books, listening to podcasts, being part of networks, WhatsApp groups, subscribing to newsletters, having this podcast and talking about AI 6 days a week. You know, it really is a commitment that I committed to, let's say, almost 4 years ago when ChatGPT came to the market. And I can't just drop it. I can't just say I know everything now. You know, every day there's something new. But I really want to thank myself for building with AI and expanding my knowledge and really getting to grips with the capability of AI through learning by doing. And as I was building with my team, AI was evolving. Agentic capability accelerated. The EU AI Act moved through implementation. There were geopolitical questions around infrastructure. We had to iterate on govcoms.ai. The models got better, they got faster, and dependency became more significant. One of the learnings was we originally used Claude as the underlying frontier model for govcoms.ai. We then moved towards Mistral because we wanted a European developed model at the centre of a product designed for European public institutions, while retaining greater flexibility over deployment and technical architecture. So the decisions weren't just technical. I had to stay in tune with what was happening across the world, what policymakers, governments, politicians were saying about AI, so that I was then maturing my platform and my methods with those changes. And then building has reinforced something I have believed throughout my work with AI. And that is AI is accessible and AI is communication, not coding, one of the big lines from my book, AI Playbook. And that doesn't mean that technical knowledge is unnecessary. I mean, I've had to learn more technical language, question specifications, and work through difficult decisions, but being advised by my AI development team. But the starting point is the ability to define a problem, communicate an outcome, structure knowledge, and keep giving direction until the system does something genuinely useful. And it has changed the way I teach AI as well. I'm less interested in showing people a long list of impressive features. I'm more interested in helping them identify a process they could redesign or a problem that they could solve, a body of knowledge that they could structure, or indeed giving them the capability to distinguish between AI tools that will work for different tasks. I would say my training is stronger because it comes from the reality of building, the delays, the failed iterations, and how I've changed my own perspectives and assumptions, and also the grounding in governance. And I was saying this to a group of people in Geneva last week that, I've stayed in my own lane when it comes to building with AI. I'm building communications products. I'm building AI-powered products that serve my niche. I'm leaning into my domain expertise. I'm not trying to become an expert in something that I wasn't in, albeit, yes, AI is a new discipline, but it is layered upon my 25 years of domain expertise, because my work is grounded in communications, journalism, public policy, education, and all of that experience over 2 decades. And without that judgment, that experience, I could build something that looked really polished and cool, but I wouldn't know whether it was accurate, responsible, useful, or for the right people or organizations. My footprint is over everything that I build with AI. I choose the problem, I shape the framework, I supply the knowledge, I test the result, I decide what is good enough, and I remain responsible for the outcome. But I work with my team, and I get other people to test the product and to test the solution against the problem that it's trying to solve. And AI has given me great capacity and scale. Funny story, about 13, 14 years ago, I was on the Irish version of the TV show, The Apprentice. And I got to the very end. I came third. There were 16 candidates. And I was the last person to be fired because guess what? The top 2 weren't fired. One was hired, one wasn't. So in firing me very, very kindly, Bill Cullen, who was our Donald Trump and our Alan Sugar of Ireland, said, Joanne, if this was a regular show and I was hiring a person, I would have hired you on task 1. But this is not the case. And we are here to invest in a business. And I would invest in you, but I cannot invest in your business because you're not scalable. And that's always sat with me. And I didn't disagree with Bill. I thought he was absolutely right. But I've always wanted to scale my knowledge, my expertise beyond my capability. And guess what? I've just done it. I hope you've enjoyed this series of how I'm building with AI. Of course, I continue to build with AI, and maybe I'll bring you another 10-part series in 2027. But for now, if you've built something really exciting with AI, let's talk about it. Come on the long listen interview that I put out on Saturdays. Send me an email to joanne@digitaltraining.ie or a DM on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening. That's it for today's show. If you're ready to turn these insights into skills, here's how I can help. Get your copy of my book, AI Playbook, on Amazon. It's the perfect companion to the show. For weekly AI strategies, subscribe to my newsletter, Human in the Loop, on LinkedIn. Or if you want to take the next big step, you can take our CPD accredited professional diploma in AI. Maybe you need something more tailored for your organization. You can book a call in my calendar at digitaltraining.ie. Or if you work in government or public sector, go over to publicsectormarketingpros.com. If you found this episode useful, please share it with a pro that you know. And I'd love to read your comments on Spotify. And if you can, take a second to like, rate, or subscribe wherever you listen. It really helps the show. This is AI 6. I'll talk to you on the next episode.